All right. If you've been watching these videos, thanks for watching. You can leave comments on the videos. If you go to YouTube, probably I'll see them. You can leave comments there, and I'd appreciate it to hear back from people on if these videos are even helping. Okay, what you're looking at here is a syllogism, right? It's how you have to say things in your work. It's like a basic formula, and it has to do with things that are equal and things that are not equal. Okay, they're not the same. Like this right here, if you're trying to say something is the same, then you would use this formula right here. You would say something is something, something is that thing, and that something is the thing we mentioned before. Same thing, right? But there might be things here, there might be other things here, like A. There might be a D in here. There might be a D inside that B. So how do you say that this is different, right? Well, you would do it this way, and I think I made a mistake. If you give me a second, I'm gonna replace all the C's with something else. Hold on. These ones over here, I'm just gonna make it into an E. I'll just do an E. Sorry, I just noticed that this might make it a little better. Okay, so there's an E there now. So instead of it being like, I guess it would be here. It would be on the outside. The E would be inside of B, but same level as A. Whatever it is. I know it's probably confusing, but when you're trying to say that something is different, then you need to go this route. And you say, it's not this, okay? And the way you write this is only A is this thing, right? This other thing is not even an A. So therefore, it can't be a B. That's how you read this right here. Only A's can be B's, E's cannot be A's, therefore an E cannot be a B. It does take some time to read it and think it over. It's gonna take you like a month for this shit to finally click in. So, but if you just keep looking at this right here and just asking questions and thinking about it, it makes sense, because you can say something is the same as something else, or you can say that they're different. Okay, and you need to do that. You need to say, well, this is a good judge would do this. A judge who abuses their discretion would do this. An attorney who is not breaking the rules does this, and an attorney who is breaking the rules does this, right? So that would be an example of why you would be using the same or different kind of way to express an idea, right? Okay. Now, I'm writing this because there's a lot of people that are writing complaints about judges, but you don't know what you're doing, and it's not your fault. It's kind of hard to do, and they don't teach this stuff to you in school, but the courts, they use it, and practically everybody has to use the court system, and they don't know how to use it. And I find that frustrating, because they should be teaching us how to use the court system. We're all gonna get mixed up in it in some way or the other. Now, your complaint is made up of like 2 paragraphs per page, right? Or 2 sections per page, and there will be some paragraphs in each one. But you may have just one section, right? But this represents like an idea here and a different idea here. The judge was biased. The judge committed barratry. different ideas get different paragraphs, different sections, but you shouldn't have more than 2 to a page, okay? And you only want like maybe 1 or 3 issues. Don't load like 75 and put 3. Just put your best 3, or maybe 4, but don't go over 3 complaints. 3 issues and 1 complaint. Don't do that. I'm not gonna read it. And it's gonna be cumbersome. Just don't do that. And put your best stuff up at first. Your best, like, you got all the evidence. You got the judge to admit to the wrongdoing. That would be the ultimate one right there. You just put, I got the judge to admit to the wrongdoing. Like, so, okay. And then you would move to another issue. But that would be like the most powerful issue you could have. Now, after you're done with your 3 issues, you attach your exhibits. Okay, make sure you put exhibits there. All right, and you label them, preferably at the top. I just did this so you could see it, but put your labels, no, actually at the bottom, because they'll flip the pages like that. Okay, now I want to get into these things right here, these little boxes, right? Each of these little boxes has a structure to it, okay? The first thing that you're going to write about is the major sentence, the middle, and then the conclusion. But the conclusion is a question, okay? So the major sentence has to do with a rule or like a criminal statute, okay? Judges either break rules or they break criminal statutes. Lawyers too, So you need to identify it and you put it there. So you say, okay, my major, Canon 3B5 equals judge must perform duties without bias or prejudice. I summarized here, but if you go look at this, Texas Judicial Canon 3BS, it's also in other canons in other states. They also have something very similar about no bias. It's actually something across the global legal system, which is pretty interesting. It's a maximum of equity, but I'll talk about that later. Now, I want to show you how to cut up a sentence real quick. Okay? I have the judge performs without bias or prejudice. Look for the first noun in there. It should tell you. And then you draw a line right there, and that right there is called a noun phrase. Noun phrase. You can look that up and learn about those things. I suggest you do. Whatever comes after that is a verb phrase. Okay? You cut that up, and if you know how to, there's clues into what has to be done, okay? This right here, the noun phrase, becomes your A here or your A here, all right? The verb phrase is your B's right there, all right? Now, you go to your middle, okay? Your minor. That should be minor, I'm sorry. I'm all messing this up for whoever's trying to write this down. But major, minor, that says minor. Major, minor, and conclusion. Okay, so we go to the minor here. The minor is just facts, okay? Facts and citations with reference. Where or who, okay? Where or who for the facts. So your next sentence in here is gonna be, or couple of sentences, is gonna be your minor. It's gonna be facts, and you're gonna say where and where the facts are, and who knows they're a fact, who knows their truthfulness, right? So you come over here. We go to our minor. Talk about facts here. The judge admitted to hating a litigant and professing to deny any relief to the litigant. Exhibit A. This could be an affidavit. It could be a voice recording, a transcript. Well, it's going to be an affidavit of either a transcript or an audio message Probably both, so the judge can listen to it, or they can at least read it, but you have to tell them where it's at, like what page too. I would also probably do this. A, and then comma, and then put the page number, right? You put the page number that it's at so that they can go and reference it. But you got to have an affidavit that says it's true. You can't just say it's true. You have to get like somebody else who they would not believe is on your side. Somebody neutral, or even somebody who's on the other side. If they admit that something is true, then it's more likely that the judge will accept it as being true. Okay? So Exhibit A, and then that'll be the transcript from like a in chambers hearing, or a threat somewhere in a bar or something like that. It would be the affidavit of the attorney or somebody else who witnessed it. They have a notary signature, everything on there too, and you would tell the judge what page you're relating to, because there might be an entire transcript, like 5 pages. Well, just tell the judge, go to page 2, paragraph 5 or something, sentence 10, okay, something of that nature, so they can go find it. All right, now here, this was our minor. This was here, the minor here, okay, the judge. Okay, he admitted. All right. The judge admitted to hitting a litigant and professing to deny any relief to the litigant. Now, we have to add on to that. We have to kind of elaborate a little bit more. Okay, strong feelings influence our actions. And there's a syllogism in here. Hatred is a strong feeling. You'll notice that in syllogisms, they go like this. This word should come down here, okay? And this can come down here, but you can use another word for it. Equity exists to remedy acts done out of hate or malice. Okay, equity is a term not a lot of people understand. They think it has to do with your home, but it actually is like the Proverbs in the Christian Bible, or the Muslims, the Hindu, the Tao, all religions pretty much have like a 10 commandments type thing, do's and don'ts, rules of society, so to speak. They all have them. Equity is basically that right there. No matter what society you go to, they all have some sort of equitable rules. They're called maxims of equity. Okay, so here I'm bringing up equity. I want to talk about equity because equity affects everything. Like, that's the reason why there's no bias or prejudice, because of equity. It comes from an equitable principle. So next, I say, well, equity is a guiding principle. A strong bias challenges guiding principles. Now, here's my conclusion right here, because it's a question. But this is the conclusion right here. Can a judgment be based on the judge's hatred for a litigant? All right. So I'll put that up there. And now that I think about it, I think I might actually change that. Because we want to say, did the judge act without bias or prejudice? Does that statement, I would probably get rid of that and say something like, does the judge's statement indicate an inability to perform without bias or prejudice? I would probably put something of that nature instead of this right here. Start talking about their ability to perform. They're not supposed to, like, if they know that they have a prejudice or a bias, they need to pass it on. So if a judge is not passing it on, if he's not passing on the case to somebody else, then that would be, something that violated this canon. But this is just a starting place for me, actually. Like, once I keep writing, and you keep writing, and then you look at it and you look at the rules, and you be like, did I follow these rules? And do I really have to follow these rules? And I should probably try to follow them most of the time. Especially this rule right here. It's called a contrapositive. Like, you use it to test if what you're saying makes sense. If A equals B, then if it's not B, then it's not A. All right. And they both must make sense. They both must make sense. Like, you say, like, if a child throws something at their parent, then that means that the other parent is a bad person. Okay? Just follow me here. Like, if a child throws something at a parent, then the other parent is a bad person. They must be a terrible parent. They must be teaching that kid how to throw stuff at the other parent, using the kid as some sort of tool for retribution. They must be a terrible parent. So we ask ourselves, well, if the parent is not a terrible parent, then the child won't throw stuff at the other parent. Right? So we ask ourselves, okay. So if the parent is not a bad parent, right? If they're a good parent, pretty much, if they're a good parent, then the child won't throw stuff at the other parent. And you sit there and you think about it, and you're like, well, wait a minute. Like, I've seen kids throw stuff at a lot of people. They throw stuff everywhere. That's just what they do. They throw stuff. So that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Because kids throw stuff and they don't know better. Or they get angry and they do it. You know what I mean? They just, like, doesn't mean that you're a bad parent or either of their parents are bad parents. Doesn't mean they're good parents. It has no, like, relevance to the fitness of a parent. So when somebody comes at you with this right here, you flip it around and you say, yeah, but could it be true the other way if it was not what you say they are? Okay? You flip it around. That is a test that you got to do with every sentence that you say, and you kind of put your ideas out, and then you come back and you use these tools to say, well, okay, I might need to do something else. I might need to put like a equals B, and then a C equals A, and then a C equals a D, and then a D equals an F. And, there's a lot of things you may have to do to get the point across, to get the reader to understand where you're going. And that's the kind of stuff that I didn't present here. That's just stuff that is out there waiting for you to learn it. But look, First few sentences talk about the rule or a crime that they committed. Your next few sentences talk about the facts, and you say where those facts are and who knows the truthfulness of it. Okay? And then your conclusion should be in the form of, can they do that? Can they do that? You may need to add something more. You know what I mean? Like, did the judge act without bias? Does the statements indicate the judge's inability to act without bias. Does that bias affect the outcome of the case? Something of that nature that will get them to say no. You want them to say no, and by saying no, they agree with you. Okay? Think about that. You have to devise a question to where if they disagree with you, like if they say no, they just have to give you a no answer. If you get them to say no, they're actually agreeing with you. Don't try to get a yes. Okay? That's an important tactic there. So look, I don't know who's out there. I hope this helps you if you're writing a complaint against a judge. I know it's complicated stuff and it does require a lot of writing, and that's what you're up against. Go do it though. I think you'll enjoy it, and that's pretty. It's pretty cool stuff, I would say. But yeah, all right. Good luck.